Hey everyone, this is Giovany, BackYard Flick Reviews. So today I'm reviewing Spider-Man Homecoming, the very first standalone Spider-Man movie with the collaboration of both Sony Pictures and Marvel Studios. Towards the end of the episode, I'm also going to be ranking all 6 Spider-Man movies, from my least favorite to the Spider-Man movie that I felt was the best so far. So let's get started. So Spider-Man Homecoming stars Tom Holland, Michael Keaton, Robert Downey Jr., Marisa Tomei, Jon Favreau, and is directed by Jon Watts. Tom Holland embodies Spider-Man perfectly. He embodies Peter Parker. He has the look, he has the acting chops, he has the physicality, he has this innocence to him. He's likable, so Tom Holland, in my opinion, so far is the best Spider-Man that we have seen on screen. Michael Keaton plays the Vulture, the main villain in Spider-Man Homecoming. I'm not too familiar with the character. I'm more familiar with the other Spider-Man villains like Venom, Hobgoblin, Green Goblin, Doc Octopus, those characters. But so I wasn't know what to expect for Michael Keaton's performance as the Vulture. But right off the bat, as soon as the movie begins, you already feel for the character. You understand why Michael Keaton's character, the Vulture, is actually doing the things that he's doing. So it's not just like we have a villain who's just going to terrorize Spider-Man and there's no actual reason for it. So there's also a scene with the Vulture where he's actually not wearing the suit, and Michael Keaton still portrays him as this really menacing and threatening character, which I thought was done very well in Spider-Man Homecoming. Spider-Man has, I think, the best villains of the Marvel comics. Spider-Man is my second favorite comic book character, second only to Batman. And I think part of it is because those two characters, Batman and Spider-Man, have great villains, which really give them a serious threat to these superheroes. The story itself in Spider-Man Homecoming, it's more of a coming-of-age story. I like that they didn't do the whole origin story, because we've seen that twice already in the Sam Raimi version and the Amazing Spider-Man Andrew Garfield version, the Mark Webb version. So no one really needs to see the origin story anymore. Everyone knows how Spider-Man became Spider-Man. So I like that they avoided doing that whole scene with the origins and how he became Spider-Man. So right off the bat, you already know who Spider-Man is. You already know how he got it. I think they mentioned it only once, as to, a spider bit him and he became Spider-Man. It's very brief. Spider-Man Homecoming is actually really funny. It's more on the level of Avengers. Avengers had a lot of comical scenes that were actually really funny, and Spider Homecoming had a lot of those scenes that you would get as a Marvel fan, as a comic book fan, or just a regular moviegoer. It just had a lot of jokes for everyone, pretty much. So throughout the movie, they use Captain America. They use him in some infomercials at the high school. It's kind of like an educational video, and those parts were actually really funny with Captain America. So I like that they added Captain America in Spider-Man Homecoming without him actually being in Spider-Man Homecoming. So he's not actually part of the story. He's just kind of like in the background, kind of like as a funny element of the movie. So I thought that was done very well. Tony Stark is obviously in Spider-Man Homecoming. I guess the studios wanted to make sure that people knew that this Spider-Man was going to be part of the Marvel Cinematic Universe and not the Sony Pictures version where we saw Andrew Garfield's Amazing Spider-Man, which wasn't received very well. So when I first saw the trailers, they were using Iron Man a lot, Tony Stark a lot, and online there was comments about, oh, it's actually Iron Man 4. They used Tony Stark Iron Man just the right amount of time. Tony Stark didn't overstay his welcome, so they used it just perfectly for the subplots that they were trying to create in the movie. So it worked perfectly well. So as everyone knows, Peter Parker is a high school student. He is 15 years old. So he's struggling, balancing being a superhero and being a high school kid at the same time. So there's this scene where Peter Parker has the opportunity to hang out with his crush, this girl named Liz. but he's debating whether he should be a high school kid or if he should be a superhero by tracking down this bad guy he's been tracking for the last few days, and he actually got an opportunity to actually confront this bad guy. So Peter Parker's friends, the actors that they use to portray his friends, they're actually not annoying. His friend was actually not annoying as I thought he was going to be. So he has actually a few funny moments in the movie and some moments where he gets to shine for like this one shot or one scene. There were two casting choices that I wasn't expecting. They used the guy from Grand Budapest Hotel, this guy, and they used the actor from The Big Hit. He was in that movie. He's like the porn addict or something. He was known as the award-winning, the best porn rental guy from The Big Hits. This black guy, bald, and they used him in this movie. I haven't seen him, I think, since that movie probably. So it was something unexpected. So it was kind of funny to see actually both of them. But I did like that they used the bully and in a non-traditional jock bully for this movie. So they used another nerd like Peter Parker and his friend as the rival instead of an actual jock. Okay, so the negatives. So I actually don't have that many negatives for this movie, but there are a couple. Well, for one, I mean, I'm not going to get into too many spoiler territory, but there are actually a lot of antagonists in Spider-Man Homecoming that I was not expecting at all. I thought, Vulture was going to be the main villain, which he is the main villain, but I didn't think there was anyone else involved as far as being the bad guy in the movie. So there's actually a lot of antagonists in the movie. It wasn't as bad as, like, let's say Spider-Man 3 that had like multiple villains, and it just became this fiasco of characters and making the movie super bloated. They used them just enough, but I think that's going to be kind of a negative because there was some characters in there that I wish they would have waited for another movie, but they used them. So another weakness of Spider-Man Homecoming, which I only had a little bit of an issue with it, but I think a lot of people might have a big issue with this, is that one particular character of the Spider-Man comic is changed quite significantly, that it's not recognizable at all anymore, and it's kind of revealed in the movie who that person is. I didn't really like that big change. I mean, I don't hate it, but I don't know if it's gonna really work for me. I mean, I'll give it a chance for the next movie. Maybe that person will grow on me, but as of right now, I'm not loving that choice for that change on this really big Spider-Man comic book character. So that's just gonna be probably the only negatives that I have for the movie. Overall, Spider-Man Homecoming was a really good standalone Spider-Man movie. It was a good Marvel Cinematic Universe movie, a really good comic book movie. So ultimately, Spider-Man Homecoming is definitely a see it. It is worth your money. It is worth your time. So check it out. I am going to grade it an A-, and I'm going to grade it a 4.3 out of 5 stars. So that's going to be my review there for Spider-Man Homecoming. So Sony and Marvel Studios definitely did a good job with Spider-Man Homecoming. It was a really good idea to collaborate and come up with something like this. And now Spider-Man is in the Marvel Cinematic Universe, which is something we've all wanted, all comic book fans wanted to see. And now we have the first Spider-Man movie that is part of the MCU. So real quickly, I'm just going to rank all 6 Spider-Man movies from my least favorite to my favorite Spider-Man movie. So the number 6, so my least favorite and I think the worst Spider-Man movie, is still Spider-Man 3. Sam Raimi's Spider-Man 3 that came out in 2007. Then it's a Spider-Man, or The Amazing Spider-Man 2. That will take the number 5 spots, and number 4 is going to go to the first Amazing Spider-Man movie that came out in 2012 with Andrew Garfield. And actually the next 2 spots are going to be both Spider-Man Homecoming and the first Spider-Man movie that came out in 2002 with Sam Raimi. I need to watch Spider-Man Homecoming a couple more times to really determine if it's better than the 2002 Sam Raimi Spider-Man movie. But as of right now, both of those movies are tied as the best Spider-Man movies at number 2 together. And obviously my number 1 favorite Spider-Man movie is going to be Spider-Man 2 that came out in 2004. So that's going to be the ranking. So again guys, thank you very much for watching. Click the button to subscribe so that you can see any videos that I'll be posting in the future. I will be making more movie review videos, and I'm actually going to start making some top 5 directors, top 5 screenwriters, top 5 actors videos in the future. So stay tuned for those videos. Thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you guys next time.